All right, I'm still trying to get to the bottom of this dilemma that I have in understanding men because we do know that women like a man who's stronger, right? And I'll tell you why. I'll get to that in a sec. We do know that women want a man who's stronger and earns more money. And men say, we don't care how much a woman earns or how successful she is. Some men even say, I don't want a woman who's successful, who's a boss babe. What I want in a woman, men will say, is I want someone who's pretty, who's nice, who's happy, like a good girl type of a person. And women have a lot more requirements. And I think a lot of that is based on evolution. And I'm going to tell you why and where my dilemma comes in. The dilemma comes in because the majority of men, due to all the economic shocks and the fact that we're in a knowledge economy, a lot of men are really struggling. And the cost of housing, if you live in Southern California or in another big city, the cost of housing is through the fucking roof. You cannot buy a house on one income. In fact, a lot of people only can buy houses because they had their parent give a down payment or they have an inheritance. I know, I have some friends who live in a duplex, a 4-bedroom duplex, and it hasn't been remodeled in ages. Like, it needs so much work, and it was $950,000. Okay, so there's no way that a man who's a plumber can be like, I like that girl, and I'm going to marry her, because they're going to be. Even an apartment in San Diego, like a 1-bedroom apartment, starts at like $2,000 a month. So you can't tell me that men are like, I don't care how much money she makes. It may have to do with their sexual attraction. So a man can be sexually attracted to a woman and not think about her money because he doesn't need her power. He wants her softness, her submissiveness, her prettiness. But he's not marrying that woman. So those guys who don't make enough money, they're not marrying the women. They might be attracted to them, but the men marrying are the college-educated men, the privileged class, I'm going to call it. They're still getting married at the same rate as they did decades ago. And I'm going to link below an interview that Chris Williamson did with Melissa Carney, an economist, that looks at family formation and birth rates from an economic point of view using data. She doesn't look at it from the relationship angle. But the reason that women want a man who's stronger is because we all want someone who is at their best version of their sex. So for a woman, it would be, beauty, softness, kindness, agreeableness, cooperation, kindness, sweetness, being a mother, being nurturing. And for a man, it would be, you guys have more testosterone, and that testosterone and your different brain and your stronger muscles make you that you want to take more risks. That's why men die younger than women. They take more risks. It makes you want to take on challenges. Like, people who start taking testosterone, they talk about how they want to take more challenges and they have more energy. And it makes you want to go on adventures. It makes you more sexual. It makes you physically stronger. And so we're attracted to men who are embodying all that. And if you're not embodying all that, we're not going to feel attracted, okay? It's as simple as that. So that's why we as a woman, we want someone who's stronger, who's stable. That's what we crave. And some people will leave things in the comments like, well, I'd love to be a stay-at-home guy or, whatever. But the thing is, you're talking about now I have to be a caretaker, okay? So sure, even a guy who's married, maybe he's down on his luck, he loses his job, or he's depressed, or has something going on. And I'm guessing during those times, the woman is not going to feel attracted to him. Or he starts, exuding all of his emotions. All those things make you less attractive sexually, because caretaking does not create sexual desire. It blows it up. Okay, caretaking is something we do for our children, for sick people, and we'll do it for our husbands, of course. But I'm saying the caretaking energy is the opposite of sexual desire. Because sexual desire comes from, I admire you, I respect you. And it's hard to respect a man who isn't trying and who's lazy and who's not building. Okay, you guys watch Bruce Rivers, the lawyer? He's really good. He always talks about building. You want to build. And not every man's going to win the mating game, because the thing is, you guys are the ones that want to put your penis in our vagina. Okay, you want access to our bodies, and our bodies, like our brains, don't know that there's birth control. Like, it's going to take eons for our brains to evolve to where we don't need you to be stronger and more successful, because you're trying to get access to our wombs and our ability to bear your children. So you got to earn that. Okay, it's not a free ride. And a lot of men are becoming whining little crybabies that are over-domesticated crybabies who have been given a trophy in kindergarten even when they didn't play worth squat, who got a smiley sticker on their report card even when they didn't perform well, and they're going around crying that women don't want to open their legs for them. So stop being a wuss. Okay, you have testosterone. Fucking use it. Start getting up at 6 in the morning. Start taking a cold shower. Get some sunlight. Listen to Andrew Huberman. Get to the gym and build. Get an education. Learn a trade. I don't want to hear you fucking whining anymore. It's very unbecoming because it makes you very unattractive. When you're just I'm a woman making videos. I'm not selling anything. You come on here whining about how you got it so hard, and yeah, you do, but do something about it. Else, I'm just going to pity you, and just, they're repulsive. So I'm just trying to explain things, okay? And I'm talking about how to build desire and attraction, and pity is not going to do it. Being a victim isn't going to do it, okay? You go around whining how it's so fucking hard for you as a man. That's not going to make a woman want you. It's going to be repulsive. So pull yourself up by your fucking bootstraps, and you're going to have to start doing build some better habits, have some discipline, start getting up early every day. Like the guy who wrote this book. Okay, he's very successful. He gets up at 4 every day and he works out. Okay, get a routine. That's what you got to do. It's hard. You want to win the mating game? It's not easy. Not easy. Not everyone gets it, okay? Because you're wanting access to our vaginas, to our wombs, and you want to put your penis in there and put your seed in there. You know, you can't, that's not for everyone. You got to make a woman want you. And they're not going to want you just because you exist. That's what your mommy does. And your friends. Okay. So that's what I want to say. Now, what she says in the video is that the marriage rate has only dropped outside the college-educated class. And there's been an increase in one-parent households, and that divorce rate is down because fewer people are getting married. Also, surprisingly, the teenage childbirth rate is down 70% since the mid-90s. Among college-educated women, 12% are having children outside of marriage, but among the non-college educated, it's much higher. And my theory is, all these guys going around saying, I don't care how much money a woman makes, they'll get with that woman, but they're not going to marry her because they can't afford it. And her theory as to why a lot of these people are having children out of wedlock is because the woman either feels like this man can't provide for me, so I don't want to marry him, or the man might feel I can't provide for her, so I don't want to marry her. So the question I'm going to throw right back at you guys is, if you don't make enough money to buy a house and support a family, how can you're not going to marry a woman who is just some secretary or working at the floral shop, because you can't afford it. You need her to work. Okay? And I know a lot of women have to work because they're dropping their newborn babies off at a childcare. No mom wants to do that, okay? They have to do that. The other thing that guys keeps going on about is that women file for most divorces, and the women that I know who filed for divorce in every single case except one. I know one who was just kind of like a flaky kind of a one, and the guy should have never married her, okay, because she was like flaky from the beginning. But in all the other cases, the women who divorced did so because the guy refused to go to therapy after years of being asked, wouldn't work on any of the problems, didn't care how unhappy she was, Because the fact is that men who are married, they live longer. So they're not going to file for divorce. They're benefiting more from the marriage than the woman is. That's why women do it, because you as men are benefiting more from the marriage than we are. Married women live just as long as unmarried women, but married men live a lot longer. So unless you're contributing something, why would we stay in it? And now, because women make their own money, they don't have to. Okay, so the main reasons women file for divorce is domestic violence, alcohol addiction, a man neglecting their needs, which in my case, my husband was completely neglecting me emotionally and he didn't want to do anything about it. So you want to read my book, The Fuck List, and figure that out. He's not a bad guy. I mean, I still have a civil conversation with him, but he was just not a good fit for me. And he didn't want to change any of the things, and so we just split ways after 25 years. But he's not crying about it. He's not whining like a lot of these guys on my videos are whining about these women that leave them. He's not whining at all. You know, because he actually found another wife. So, and I think she's a better fit for him. And I got to have like this amazing life. If I were married, I would not be making these YouTube videos. But I think the reason that women file for divorce mostly is we don't know who initiated the divorce. You know, it could have been that the husband was cheating and then the woman filed for divorce. It could have been that the husband was so neglectful and she kept saying, we need to work on this, we need to go to counseling, and he wouldn't go. You know, women are not like, oh yeah, let's get divorced. Like, it's a very heartbreaking thing that you have to go through a lot of pain and overlook a lot of pain, and then you eventually get divorced. Like, nobody really wants to do it, but the problem is that the men don't want to change. If you watch Terry Real's stuff, Terry Real, the therapist, he does turn a lot of relationships around. And usually what it is, you have someone who's like very like avoidant or self-righteous. And a lot of women aren't willing to put up with that. If you look at the therapy, it's mostly the women who go. The relationship books, the marriage books, it's mostly the women who read them. Even John Gray's books, it's mostly the women who read the books. It's not the men. Okay, the women are very interested in relationships, improving their relationships. But the men don't always want to go along. They're like, well, I married her, you know, I'm fine with the way things are. I don't want to change anything. And he's not paying attention. He's not attentive. And a woman is not an object, okay? A woman is not an object. Just because you married her doesn't mean that you own her, that she has to give you sex, that she has to do anything. You got to nourish that relationship. And when men don't nourish the relationship, women are not going to be happy, and now they can afford to leave. They don't have to stay anymore in those unhappy marriages. I'm going to tell you one more thing. There are a lot of women stuck in unhappy marriages, and they're staying because the religion tells them that if they put up with a lot of pain and abuse, that they're righteous, and also because they can't afford it. It's very expensive to get divorced because a lot of people have trouble even keeping one home. One home. Now you're going to split everything. You got to pay your own rent. I mean, I was worried about when I got divorced. Like, how am I going to pay my rent? You know, how am I going to do that? We just had enough money for one household. And a lot of men can't afford to get divorced. So don't come here on my channel and give me your whiny bullshit. Next time I see a man complaining, I'm just going to say, put out the little guitar. Okay? Save that for some other channel. Save that for your manosphere stuff, okay? I want to see some men step up and explain some things. Not come on here whining, which is not a lot of you, but like it really pisses me off as a woman when I hear a man whining. Like, save that shit. Take that to your men's group. Don't bring that to me, okay? It's just like a turnoff. And I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you what women like. We don't want to see your weakness. Take that to the men's group. Work on your stuff. Have some discipline. And if women are filing for most of the divorces, start asking why. Where are you guys falling short? And try to, men are supposed to be the ones that want to fix things. Well, fix it. Make it so women don't want to leave your ass. That's what I want to say. This is a rant for the whiny guys. I'm going to say a rant for the whiny guys. But I'm also curious how men can say, I don't care how much money a woman makes. Because are you guys saying that? You can't afford to buy a house and support a family, a woman and children. Very few of you can. And the ones who can are usually already married. by 30, college educated guys. So, but I think what you're talking about is attraction. Your attraction is not dependent on a woman's success, but your ability to marry her and live with her, it certainly is. It certainly is. Because you can't, most of you can't marry just any woman. You gotta, if you're gonna get married, you gotta find someone who can help pay for half the bills. Life's gotten hard, you guys. I'm not gonna kid around, and the government is not helping, with their stupid handouts. I think they need to offer more trade schools for men. They need to offer more trade schools. And the college education racket is just ridiculous because the government gives loans. There are people who make money giving the loans. So, the costs are just ridiculously high. And maybe colleges have become places that men don't like because the freaking liberals, have taken over the campuses. It would be the same as if the conservatives took over the campus. A lot of people wouldn't like that. The discourse and the exchange of ideas has become scary to people. You can complain about your professor because they brought up a topic that was against your point of view and you were offended, and men don't want to put up with that bullshit. They don't mind hearing a different opinion. Like even my rant, the guys can handle that stuff, So I think college campuses have done, and the education system has been too many female teachers, not enough men, too liberal, and men don't want to go. And a lot of men are going, why do I want to go in this much debt? So, yeah. And I think that the government has given too many tax breaks to, I think that the people have gotten really greedy, the shareholders and the CEOs, and they're siphoning all the money and not giving enough to the workers. So we have like this huge class divide. We have like 10% of people that are doing very well, and most Americans are doing very poor. They're doing very badly. It's not your fault. We should all be picketing, with signs like, change the wages or something. I don't know. But coming on here and whining to me about how women are so bad doesn't help because I don't know any women like that. And take your toxic shit elsewhere, okay? And this is just for the 3 or 4 that leave that crap. I just want to rant. Like, don't bring me that stuff. I don't know people like that. I don't know women who plunder their husbands or like, oh, I got so tired of you, I'm going to divorce you. I actually know one woman who did that. She divorced her husband because she was tired of him. She's like, I just don't love you anymore. And then he found another wife, and they've been married for like 30 years. It's just someone I know, distant relative person. So it does happen, but I don't think it's the most common example of why women get divorced. I mean, certainly I didn't like getting divorced, right? So certainly I didn't like getting divorced. I did it under great pain, And when we did go to the therapist, and the therapist asked us what we each wanted in a marriage, and, I was very unhappy with our sex life. The quality was just so bad, and he didn't care. It was just a way for him to get off, And he said sex wasn't that important to him, and but it was to me. I wanted to be good. I wanted him to look at me and be present and care about my pleasure. He couldn't. He was just very shut off. He wanted sex with me. He didn't want to get divorced, but he wanted it his way, which was very selfish. Like a 1-minute quickies is what I got for years and years. And then thinking about my orgasm was something that he sometimes did as a duty. For him to go down on me, even though it tastes really good, but I would have to cook him like this big ornate meal. Like, there are men who will pay for that, the opportunity to go down on a woman. I'm just telling you, I didn't want to get divorced, but I'm like, I'm not having this kind of sex anymore. I'm just done, And then later on, I realized that most men want to kiss. They want to please the woman. They want to know what the woman likes. And, you know, he had some kind of issues. But I did not want to get divorced. But I wasn't going to stay with the guy who fucked me like that. And if you think I should, you have a right to your opinion. But, you know, I don't think there's any virtue in being neglected in a relationship. You know, we're supposed to nurture each other and be a team and care about each other. And some of those people just do grow apart, you know. And I think that you got to maintain a woman's interest in a relationship. You don't own her just because you married her. You got to keep yourself fit. You got to look attractive if you want her to desire you. And nowadays, women make their own money. They don't have to stay with you. Okay, and that scares some of you because it means you got to stay on your game. But the same for us women. We have to stay on our game too so that you want to desire us and not leave us. You know, I was very aware of that when I was married. You know, whenever my husband wanted sex, I gave him sex. Except starting in year 12, when I was so tired of him groping me, I started sleeping with the kids for a number of years. But before the first 10 years, I always gave him sex, even though he was bad in bed, because I'm like, I'm not going to be a woman that my husband has to go find a hooker because I won't fuck him. I gave him sex. I never said no to him, even though the sex was so bad. But, yeah, but, you know, and I kept working out. I kept myself attractive. I did that for me. But he also kept finding me attractive. He always kept wanting to have sex with me. He kept finding me attractive. But that was my responsibility, too, to keep a clean house, take good care of the kids, pick up his dry cleaning, get his newspaper, take care of all the bills, have the kids ready, make sure the kids were ready when he wanted them, you know, and just be a good wife. I had that role too, and I took it very seriously. You can't just let yourself go in a relationship and expect the other person's going to keep wanting you. Some people on leaving these comments are living in a fucking, I don't know, they got their head stuck up their ass, frankly. That's all I want to say, and now I'm going out.